Use hashtag defense to get your questions on the show, folks. We're going to take some questions on the defense. We're going to see what you guys think of this this defensive performance from the Wolverines. A shutout, their first shutout in 3 seasons. I was trying to pull that stat before we went on air, but didn't look at it exactly. But I think 17-18, I don't remember a shutout. So I think this is the first shutout in 3 seasons, potentially going back to the Maryland and the Rutgers game in that 2016 season. So use defense to get your questions on the show. Michigan football post-game show here on YouTube, here on Facebook Live. Trey Stone King again, thanks for the question. How do you think Michigan's run defense will do next week against Iowa? I'm originally from Iowa. I know Iowa has a great offensive line. Well, don't hold me to this, folks, because I haven't looked at every single play Iowa's had. I'm just talking about programs. The great thing about college football is usually programs are what they are for long stretches. It's usually tough to turn around somebody. You don't go from being a hardcore running team to Oklahoma in one day. That's why this Michigan offensive transition may be a little harder than we thought it would be. But Iowa is kind of like a poor man's or a junior varsity version of Wisconsin. They have been, right? They have quarterbacks who are good but not spectacular. They try not to turn the ball over. They try to have tough defense, hard-hitting secondary, hard-hitting linebackers, and a good running game. So they haven't lost yet. I don't even know what time they're playing today. I'll have to look at that. You could be watching this on Tuesday and be like, they lost, Yoder, you're a bum. But I haven't looked at the scoreboard yet today. All kinds of prep, getting ready for this show. But I'm nervous about this game, but I'm excited about it because I think we're going to know next week what Michigan is. You could end up down the road and say, wow, Wisconsin kicked Michigan's butt, but Wisconsin's the best team in the Big Ten. They might end up crushing Ohio State. You don't know what you're going to get at Wisconsin. I think there's a lot of good things you had. Last year, people were mad against Notre Dame, right? People were mad when Michigan lost to Notre Dame, myself included. You looked unprepared. You looked uninspired. But then you run off 10 straight wins, and oh, by the way, that Notre Dame team won 12 straight games, and if you count this year, I can't remember what they did at the end of the 2017 season. I know that they lost one or two games, regular season games, I think, in 17. But Notre Dame's on, a 16-game regular season win streak here, so that Notre Dame game doesn't look that bad in retrospect. Wisconsin might not look that bad either. So we'll know what we know about this team after Iowa. We'll certainly know what this defense is made of when they go against a team that's very similar to how Wisconsin plays, but they don't have that all-American Heisman Trophy level future NFL star running back like Wisconsin does. Guys, if you follow me on Twitter, you'd know I put my picks out there every Saturday, every Sunday, and I'm having a pristine year, winning record in the NFL and a amazing record in college football. It's like 66% coming in today, my wins. You see all of them out there. There's no questioning my games. I put all my bets down with BetDSI, and they owe me a ton of cash because I got my promo code GoBlue deposit bonus, 120% deposit bonus. Originally started with, I think, $200 in there. Got an extra $240, just 120% more of 200, so 240. So with 440, that thing is up to just bank at this point. So chatsports.com/bet. If you get going with them, you can always hit me up, ask me for betting advice, DM me on Twitter, DM me on Instagram. 120% deposit bonus. Use that promo code GoBlue. Take a look at the defense. You see that lower third, that bottom part of the screen. It's one of my Yoder takeaways. Glasgow is tackling in space. It definitely needs work. And this is a good question kind of relating to that. So producer Alicia, she knows what she's doing. She is tying things together and tossing it on the screen. Christian Williams, thanks for the question. Should McGrone replace Gill? Ross. Like, Devin Gill is, I told you guys, and a lot of people said, oh no, Devin Gill was a starter last year. He started 9 games. I'm like, yeah, in some ways he was a starter, but he always felt like he was not a starter last year. But I don't know what's up with him. He's disappeared, so I don't believe, he's not a starter in my book this entire season so far. He was last year for 9 games, but he had 1 tackle today, right? 1 tackle for Devin Gill. So I don't think he's in the conversation at all. I think it's more about Glasgow and maybe Josh Ross, right? But I think Uche, Ross, and Jordan and Uche, Ross, and the guy I love, what's his name? McGrone. It's right on the screen there. I think those are your linebackers. So those are the guys I would have out there. I think you should bring in Glasgow as more of a situational guy. Maybe if you need, a faster linebacker, or maybe moving back to defensive back from time to time if you need someone to guard a tight end or cover a running back out of the backfield. But I think definitely Cam McGrone needs to be in the starting lineup. Him, Josh Uche, Dax Hill. Get them on the field as much as possible. Just having on the bench just puts less talented players out there for Michigan's defense. All right, use that hashtag defense, folks. We're going to take questions until you guys are done asking them here live on YouTube and live on Facebook. We don't do too many lives on YouTube, so thank you guys for watching. We're going to keep this show rolling, post-game show every single game for Michigan football. Question coming in from Michael Warnock. Thanks for the support, Michael. Appreciate DMing with you this week on Twitter. Does the defense worry you as much as it worries me? So, I don't know. Like, this is a game. I was texting my dad after the game. Maybe we texted. He got some Wi-Fi signal during halftime because they must be listening to me about the Wi-Fi. Still don't have it. Get the Wi-Fi. But you can't really take anything away from this game, right? It looks good and you give hope. If it would have been 17-10, 24-14, you would have been just like pulling your hair out. So you've got hope now. Now we've got hope, right? We've got hope. Can you get momentum off this hope? And can the guys who played on defense, forgive me if I'm wrong on a little of this, but I know there was talk of Mazi Smith and Chris Hinton coming to the game in the fourth quarter, but as the game was 50-0, we started preparing to do a live show, so I wasn't following every single player. I'm going to dive into the numbers here later on in the week. But if you get Chris Hinton, Mazi Smith, as the lights go out here in the Michigan Football Report, if you get Mazi Smith and Chris Hinton some playing time, if you keep Dax Hill on the field, if you get Lavert Hill back healthy, and Josh Uche and Cam McGrone on the field as much as possible, you stop that three-man line against hardcore running teams. And Michael Dwumfor being on the back of the field is a big deal because I was starting to think, based on what I was told, going back to spring, summer, and this year through 3 games, that Michael Dwumfor might be out for the season. That was not accurate. So if anyone took that as like fact, I was speculating. I'm allowed to speculate. That was inaccurate, and I'm glad to see him back on the field. So you get Dwumfor, you get healthy. This could be a better defense than I think a lot of us thought they were going to be last week after that Wisconsin blowout loss. So I want to know from you guys, though, what's your confidence in this defense? Scale of 1 to 10. 10, best defense Michigan's ever had, the 97 defense. 1 is the 2009-2010 Rich Rod defense. Well, I don't know from you guys, scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to type it in there. I'm going to 7 right now. I'm feeling a lot better. It is Rutgers, so I can't feel too good, but I'm giving Michigan a 7 on the defense. So want to know what you guys think, and we'll kind of tabulate those votes up. I'll give you guys some thoughts on the defense throughout the year. I'm looking down at my screen. I'll make sure we're not missing anybody in the comments section to make sure that we've got you guys know what my votes are if you're listening to me on mute or anything like that. So 7 on defense. I just typed into the YouTube live chat. All right, that is the question there. Let's take a look. Question from Taylor Wingfield. Did Dax earn more playing time today? Absolutely, right? How could he not? And great question there, Taylor. I'm pulling up the stats. We're going live right after the show, so I can't memorize these right away. But 4 tackles. Had a great play on that punt return. He had assisted tackle for loss for a 1-yard loss on that, and he didn't get burned, right? So how could you not think it's a great question. He's got to. And if they don't play him, if he's not in the starting rotation, something is wrong. And I don't necessarily think you've got to bench. Anybody like anybody in the secondary to get him on the field, but maybe you change your personnel up a little bit. Maybe you run more 5 defensive backs. Maybe you let him rotate in on nickel more. You got to just get him on the field because clearly I think it was evident, just the eyeball test. He is one of the best 11 players. You hold him out the first 2-3 games, let him get his feet wet, but you've got to get him on field. There's no reason this defense, where defensive tackle and the safeties are kind of the thinnest positions, you got to get a guy like Dax Hill on the field. I'm going to take a sip of water as we go to AJ Hart. AJ asks, I believe that in order to determine how well we do against Ohio State, we need to look for the 10-26 Badgers-Buckeyes matchup in Columbus. I mean, what a day for college football, for Big Ten football that day. You've got the best 2 teams in the Big Ten, at least as we know now, Ohio State, Wisconsin, in Columbus. 3 hours north. What I think is going to be a night game, just based on people are saying like, oh, Wisconsin's going to be the night game with Ohio State. I don't think that's going to happen. I think if you look at Ohio State's already scheduled night games, Wisconsin's, Michigan, Notre Dame, I think Michigan's still going to end up being the night game as long as they don't drop a couple games. I think if Michigan loses to Iowa and Penn State, it might be a noon game against Notre Dame. If they don't, it's going to be a night game. If Michigan could lose 1 game more, and it'll still be a night game. But what a day, right? if Wisconsin goes there and beats Ohio State, maybe you've got some hope that Michigan could do the same. But I think it'll tell us more about Wisconsin than it'll tell us about Michigan's ability to beat Ohio State, unfortunately. And I think we're going to know about a lot of the future of that program across the Big Ten, a lot of programs. At the end of the day, in the 26th, we're going to know where Notre Dame stands, where Michigan stands, Wisconsin and Ohio State in the grand scheme of the 2019 college football. And I think looking forward with a new coach at Ohio State, if he just beats the doors off Wisconsin that beats the doors off Michigan, I think that could be very concerning for Michigan fans going forward because Ryan Day's program, barring what they're going to do today against Nebraska, we don't know yet. So if you're watching this later in the week, you might know. They already lost to Nebraska, but as of we're filming this right after the game, they look like maybe the best team in the country, them up there with potentially Alabama at this point. So that is the question from A.J. Hart on the Michigan defense and what we can take away from the Ohio State-Wisconsin game coming up on October 26th. If you guys want to bet on that game on October 26th, making bets on NFL games tomorrow, and if you want to put some cash on Michigan versus Iowa, make sure you're doing it the smart way with the Action Network app. I've been using the Action Network for 2 seasons now, was paying for it myself, just like you guys have the opportunity to do here. Before I said, hey, you should tell your audience about it. So I thought I would. They offered me 40% off to offer you guys chatsports.com/deal, $5.99 a month to know every single stat you could ever want and where the public and the big-time sports gamblers are putting their money. And sometimes, guys, if you see the public's going over here and the big-time guys are betting the other team, those are the games the big-time guys, when they're that off in the public, that I have found are the surest way to win money on sports betting. So chatsports.com/deal, 40% off the Action Network app, $5.99 a month versus $10 a month. Take a question from Q-Ray Walker and Alicia. I know we've got the offense, the defense, the grades, the Michigan. So when we are done with the show, you just tell me. We're going to loop this thing for, so we've been on for what, hour and 10 minutes? So we'll loop it one more time after this. That could keep it rolling. Q-Ray Walker says, so we're going to have this thing will go to about 5:15 Eastern Time, 4:15 Central. If you guys are watching, want to come back, keep watching with us. All this stuff will be available on demand on the YouTube channel. So subscribe today. You see the URL there, right below me, actually, right at my knees. So here they are. I'm just touching the YouTube thing, YouTube URL /Michigan TV. Make sure to subscribe. Also, chatsports.com/Yoder, or just search for Michigan Football Report on the podcast app. If you want to take us anywhere on the go, you can listen audio only on the go if you want to on Apple Podcasts. McGrone, Hill, Mazi, and Hinton should be playing more. #defense. Corey, you are just a smart man because I think it is so blindly obvious that these 4 players need to be on field. I just can't believe that Cam McGrone wasn't a starter from day one. If you watch this show, you go back and look at my depth chart from the spring, from the summer, from thing. Everything I said was Cam McGrone's going to start. And maybe I look like a chump that he didn't start because people like to call me out and I make one mistake and I'm trying to give you guys information. I can't predict what the coaches are going to do, but I think it's pretty clear again, just like with Zach Charbonnet. Whether he got surgery and he was out, which I didn't say, I said he was hurt. I didn't expect him to play. Again, hurt today. Cam McGrone, the best linebacker on the team is what I've been told since spring ball. Spring ball coming out of his freshman year, true freshman year. Now he's a redshirt freshman. I think he's the best linebacker on the team. Dax Hill, you saw the athleticism today. And Mazi Smith and Chris Hinton, true freshmen, big-time players, big-time high school players, big boys. There's some concern there. Maybe they're not ready. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're not, conditioned enough. But you are not going to win Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State unless you get more bodies in the defensive line. And the guys they've got haven't been cutting it. The return of Michael Dwumfour gives you a little bit of hope that this could be a better D-line than years past. But you need to develop some depth. And that's where Mazi Smith and Chris Hinton come in. So use that. Thanks to the question, Q-Ray Walker. Using that #defense. But want to know from you guys, who is your defensive MVP versus Rutgers? Who is the guy that got it done for the Wolverines? I'm going to kind of rattle off some just random stats for you guys here. Khaleke Hudson led the team with 7 tackles. Kwity Paye had 6 tackles, but 1 tackle for loss. Did Kwity had a sack and a half, right? We said, Alicia, so sack and a half, 1.5 sacks for Kwity Paye. I think Brad Hawkins played nice. It was a good game all around for the defense and no points. So, who is your defensive MVP versus Rutgers? I'm just going to go out on the line. I'm going to say Kwity Paye because he made the play with the sacks. I saw him jumping out of the gym, jumping off the screen, quite a few times coming off the edge, but very close second is Cam McGrone. Very, very, very close to B is Josh Usay, and then Daxton Hill. A lot of positivity coming out of this 52-0 shutout victory over Rutgers here on a Saturday. Before we go, guys, I want to ask you guys, subscribe. News, rumors, rumors. We got all the rumors, true or not. Like that rumor about DPJ being unhappy started by Rivals.com, Chris Ballas, and Austin Fox, that little dweeb. They started it, but somehow they try to blame me for it, even though I literally said nothing about it. You'll find out the truth on this channel, youtube.com/Michigan TV. We've been presented today by BetDSI and the Action Network, chatsports.com/bet, chatsports.com/deal. So make sure you get started with both of our sponsors. We're going to keep this show rolling. See you in a few days. Go Blue. Hey there, Michigan football fans. Thanks so much for watching the Michigan Football Report. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got Michigan football news, rumors, recruiting information, and inside access to the Michigan football program. You ready for another Michigan football video? I got you hooked up right here. Go Blue.